Hey guys, welcome back to the Cold Case Chronicles. I'm Elise.
I'm Grace.
I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Maddie, and let's go back and talk about Janett Christman.
Robert Mueller. He was also friends with the Romax since high school.
Which means he was familiar with their home, too.
Many people had, described Mueller as, dressing really well, which was kind of, an interesting, fun fact. But also known for carrying around a mechanical pencil in his front shirt pocket or jacket, wherever he went.
Yeah. Kind of strange.
Okay, that is interesting.
Right?
They're weird.
Right. And literally that same day, Janett was babysitting for the Romax. Robert had actually asked Janett to babysit for him for that same night, which is really interesting because it's okay, weird. But the reason was because Robert Mueller was going to go meet Ed Romack and Ann Romack.
At the party that
they
night.
were all partying together.
And it's a little weird because you think, okay, why would he ask her to babysit if he was going to, go somewhere? And, why would we think he's a suspect if he asked her to babysit? Well, maybe he wasn't really needing her to babysit. He just wanted to know where she was.
Yeah. He did know where she was. He wound up finding out exactly where she was at what time because he was with the parents, so he knew when they were there and not home, and she was there by herself with Greg. Then it kind of gets even weirder. All of, the evidence starts really piling up against Robert.
Keep in mind, he went to this party that night, and he ended up leaving for 2 hours, said that he had to go to a doctor's appointment.
Yeah, he was going to go
in the middle of the night?
In the middle of the evening, which was a little strange.
I don't think doctor's offices are open then.
No.
She left. Okay, so the parents left around 7:30.
Correct.
I don't know any doctor's offices that are open past
5.
8. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
8 at the latest.
Yeah, and while he was gone for the 2 hours and claiming that he was at the doctor's office or whatever, his doctor was actually interviewed by the police later on, and the doctor never saw him that night. Yeah.
So all this evidence is very clear against this Robert.
Apparently, Robert had discussed with Ed, he had a lustful eye for virgin women and spoke about the desire to defile someone young.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Again, it's very obvious what's going on.
And then Ed also recalled him making comments about Janett's well-developed hips and chest.
Oh, that makes me sick.
At
she was 13.
Almost
he was
14.
27.
27.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
I think that's only a couple years older than us. And that's what I think grosses me out. I don't know why. It's disgusting no matter what. It's not it's this 40-year-old man. I feel that's where the majority of the time those are where the pedophilia, whatever comes in. But 27 years old is insane.
He also had a history
gross.
with Anne, causing uninvited sexual advancements against her. Literally happened the day before this whole thing with Janett happened. He was over at the Romax house.
Anne is the mother.
Anne is the mother of Greg, the 3-year-old that Janett was babysitting.
Do you know how old Anne is?
I think they went to school together, so they're all around the same age.
They had to have been around the same age.
Why are they hanging out with this guy?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Good question.
So eventually, there's a lot of evidence built up around Robert and all this stuff, but it comes down to the jurisdiction thing with the two police forces.
Yeah, so basically, he was brought in as the prime suspect. They put Robert through this polygraph test, and it's kind of crazy because he passed. He passed this polygraph.
Well, I mean, we haven't researched how accurate polygraph testing was.
This was also a
50s.
polygraph test. Yeah, in the 1950s. Polygraph tests now, I think I'm sure are more developed. But I'm gonna be real, I didn't even know there was polygraph tests in the 1950s.
From everything that we've been learning about this Robert guy, there's no way.
Right.
There's just no way. The fact that he passed is crazy. And that just makes me want to look into, how accurate these polygraph tests were in the 50s, because it really makes me wonder, did he really pass?
Right.
Or was it just the way they were testing back then?
And a kind of other crazy thing is that, so Ed and Robert actually had a conversation. Even, I don't know if it was while he was a prime suspect, if it was before he was named as the prime suspect or whatever, but they had a conversation. And Robert spoke about the case and exactly how he believed the crime was committed. He talked about how the window would have been too loud for someone to enter through. to be shattered. So they would have used the front door, and it had to have been someone that Janett knew so they could be let in without a second thought by her. But he, like, described everything that went down, and since they were friends, the Romax probably told Robert, like, what happened, because they probably didn't suspect him at first. Very weird.
Yep.
However, there was still so much evidence. This is what made it a real cold case, was that they were still looking for more evidence against Robert, but because he passed, they, like, kind of halted the case a bit until a judge named W.M. Dwindle, he felt compelled to arrange a grand jury and investigate Mueller's case even further, which, thank goodness. Robert Mueller was never charged because of the incompetence of the two police jurisdictions arguing.
Seriously.
Yep.
That's why.
Everything became inconclusive, and
So, sorry.
No,
Here's
you're
my
fine.
question. Dinwiddle, or whatever his name is, the judge for it, did they just, like, not have enough evidence, or, like, they didn't have enough anything to support it? Because, wait, how long ago was this after?
Yeah, I'm wondering if they
Because-
just didn't have enough evidence to
because
charge
they would
him.
fight over the two jurisdictions, they would fight over the case. So that did they not, like, just get enough information for them
they
to really
had the
unwind
information
case?
and they had the evidence, but because of how much the two police jurisdictions that were on the case disagreed with the method of entering, it, like, completely, like, overrode everything else because they couldn't decide on which way he entered or left or whatever.
That's the
That
stupidest
seems
thing.
Isn't that
really
so
stupid.
dumb?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems like
And that's not
'Cause
fair
they-
to the family.
Exactly.
no,
They
the
had
family doesn't get
plenty
any
of evidence.
peace or justice from that at all.
But
That
yeah,
pisses me off.
it's even crazier because guess what? Robert tried to sue the freaking police.
For what? Being accused?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just, okay, to me that just screams guilty. That just screams guilty.
Well, also, it's a little weird to me because wouldn't that just open the case further? Like, I think that if
Right.
this is, and I'm not trying to defend him, but, like, if he really was the suspect, if that were me personally, I wouldn't want anything to do with the police or the law enforcement. I would get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Why would I want to reintroduce another case involving me and potentially, like, looking into these two police groups and, like, having more people look further in depth on my end.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
think that's what's a little weird. Like, I want to believe that Robert is this person just so they have, like, a final ending and the family can get closure, which I think most of them have passed anyways. Like, even I think I did some research and the son Greg has passed too. So it's just like, there's this part of me that wants that closure for them, but I'm like, there is still some weird things about, like, this whole thing with Robert.
No, definitely.
He did lose the lawsuit, thankfully.
Good. Okay.
He
See.
did lose it. But afterward, he actually wound up relocating to Arizona in Tucson.
There we go.
In 2006. And that's when, in 2006, he passed away at 83 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for the Romax, just so we all have some closure on them, they wound up moving to Idaho. They said that they were very haunted by everything that happened and
Which is
felt
totally fair.
horrible that there
Yeah.
were no actual answers for Janett's family. And then Anne later passed away in the 80s, and Ed wound up remarrying and then passed in 2016 at 93 years old.
Wow.
And then Greg, I guess he's dead, but he did.
He had 3 beautiful girls.
He
Or
settled down in
he had-
Alaska.
Yeah, he had a great life. I did research. I just was like, oh my gosh, wait, how old does that make him now? But he ended up dying of cancer, which is so sad. But he was like in his 60s. He was okay.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't make it better. I'm sorry.
young.
I know.
I will add one more thing before we talk theory.
Okay.
It's actually about what the Christmans thought, which is going to help us with our own theories. They still believe that Robert was responsible for Janett's death.
Wow.
And honestly, I think this might be a hot take. Mother's intuition is so
Yes.
fucking
True.
real.
Yes.
And if
True.
her mom really was like, I know that this man did this to my daughter, I'm riding with the Christman family.
retweet.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's crazy.
just the fact that he would have known. He left for 2 hours. He carried around a mechanical pencil. He talked about the case. He had
He said
sexual
weird,
advancements.
gross
Yeah.
things that he said to women
Yeah.
and about women and about Janett. particularly
Yeah,
too.
pisses me off that he like lived a long life. Like,
I
I'm
know.
sorry, I know he was never convicted. I just, in my heart, I feel like he did it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I wish that they had more resources then, because it's like they could have like tested the muddy footprint they found by the window and
Yeah.
matched it to like one of his shoes, and it's just
I think a big factor that we could talk about is the fact that this is the 1950s and what detectives and what all of that looks like for them versus now, and like all the new technology and things that we have. Even like a simple polygraph test, it could be completely different from here now until then. And so I don't know, I just think that not only was law enforcement a part of this entire thing and like the never finding a solution to it all, but also just the lack of information that they had or that they were available to get.
Yeah.
So I think that if this was now, we would have had completely
I
different
agree.
outcome.
okay. I just Googled how accurate were polygraph tests in the 50s, and mind you, this is just Google. This is what comes up. It says scientific consensus remains that polygraphs are not highly accurate and are prone to false positives and negatives.
See?
Yeah, I don't believe that the polygraph was accurate.
But I don't either, and I feel like
Especially
going
when taken
into
in
it-
Jeff City.
Well, it's like, don't they measure your like heart rate and stuff? I feel like you
Yeah.
could have probably prepared for that ahead of time and just tried to remain calm.
Smoked some weed.
Yeah, literally, like just
Yeah.
chilled out, like.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for cracking open a new case with us in the Cold Case Chronicles. Again, I'm Maddie.
I'm Lizzie.
I'm Grace.
And I'm Elise. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all learned something new.
Bye. Bye.